Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. We're going to talk about bright line eating. I took all of the questions that were submitted so that we can go through those. And if you have questions as we go on, you can type them in on Instagram. There's a little question box that you can type your question in. It'll be a little bit easier to see than watching the captions. On Facebook, you can type them below. I'm so glad that you are here and joining us. I'm going to share a little bit about my journey and how I even got into this. My journey was gaining weight shortly after the pandemic hit. And I had had a hip injury and things were a little bit stressful, but I was also eating clean at the time. I was not eating gluten, dairy, or refined sugar. And what was interesting was my husband was quarantined with me. And when Mark was quarantined with me, he actually lost 40 pounds eating what I was eating. And I was shocked that I was eating the same thing as him and I was continuing to gain weight. And it was just this pattern going on. And I had done an elimination diet in the past. I also ate mostly paleo and very low carb and just saw the scale going up and up. And I tried counting my calories with my Fitness Pal. I tried monitoring my blood sugar with the Libra, the Freestyle Libre continuous blood glucose monitor. And I was just wondering what is going on, feeling really lost. I decided to do another elimination diet because that's what I'm trained to do as a women's health functional nutrition coach. I was increasing my water and nothing was really working. And this was triggering for me because if you don't know, I have a history with cancer. I had a very rare sarcoma that was removed from my abdomen almost 10 years ago. And during that time, one of the first symptoms was weight gain without a change in my diet or activity. And that's actually how we found the cancer. So when I see the scale going up and I'm not sure why, it's a little bit triggering for me because of my past medical history. And then when they removed the tumor, they put mesh in and that mesh continued to herniate. And long story short, they did a complete reconstruction of my abdominal wall. And during that time, they said there's permanent stitches in place. We've reconstructed, kind of built me a new abdomen. Don't gain a lot of weight because it could cause the hernia to come back. So I monitor this pretty closely for a lot of reasons and nothing was working. And I was really frustrated. And I got an email, divine timing, about bright line eating. And the creator is Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson. She did a workshop about food addiction. And there's different videos, and you can go to the website over at brightlineeating.com and you can watch these videos. And I learned a lot through them. And she talked about a lot about food addiction. And she's kind of a brain scientist, a neuroscientist, and has studied a lot about on the research of food addiction. She herself was addicted to food and has changed her life kind of through this process. And there were two things that really stood out to me from watching those videos with her. One was she talked about sugar, how that's highly addictive. And we know that the mice choose sugar every time over cocaine, that sugar is 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And then she also talked about sweeteners of any kind, like honey and maple syrup and stevia. And I did a lot of stevia and lohan and xylitol and monk fruit, and how those are heavily addictive too. And they set off your dopamine response in the brain, just like a drug addict, like that. You get that hit, if you will. And that I thought was really fascinating because as I was tracking my blood sugar, I was seeing similar things. And then the other thing that she mentioned was no flour. And I thought, well, I don't eat gluten. I'm off the hook. I've already made those changes. But it was not just wheat flour, no, almond flour, coconut flour. And I made a lot of upgraded, healthier things, what I thought were healthier things, right? Like paleo treats, like paleo pancakes and paleo brownies and all of these things. And she described it as if you take a block of ice and you put it in your driveway on a hot day. That's like whole grains, like whole brown rice. It will take your body time to process and assimilate that. But if you take shavings from a snow cone and then you put that out in the driveway, it's going to melt very quickly. And that's like flour, goes into your system really fast. And I was noticing watching my blood sugar that I could have stevia and it would spike my blood sugar just like sugar. or I could have something like a paleo tortilla, like a siete tortilla. I love the siete brand. I would get all those things. It would spike my blood sugar too, really high. And she was the first to kind of really dive into that and share more about that. I thought that was fascinating. And she has a susceptibility quiz that you can take. It's free on her website. And I've linked it up over on my Facebook business page. And it basically shows you how addictive you are to foods. And I was an 8 on a 0 to 10 scale, pretty high. And I could notice that because I would love dark chocolate or like Lily's dark chocolate chips. And I would want to snack on those in the evening. And I would get like just a little handful. And then I would want to go back and get like just a few more. And that sugar addiction. So I went through her workshops. I learned about this. I thought it was really fascinating. She shared a lot of what really resonated with me. And when talking about sugar cravings, she gave the example of in the research in the lab, the mice, they train them to like hit a little lever and it drops the food. And they get programmed that, right? Hit a lever, drop the food, hit a lever, drop the food. And they know that that's going to happen. When they take that away and they hit a lever and nothing happens, they'll do it a couple times, maybe 3 or 5 times. And then they stop and they'll go in the corner and they stop working on that. But if you give them the food occasionally, like occasionally it'll work, and then sometimes it doesn't, they'll continue to just go back and hit the lever, hit the lever, hit the lever. So she was talking about this from a neuroscience perspective of if you're really addicted to sugar or sweet things and you get those sugar cravings and you give in to those cravings, you're reprogramming the brain, the neural pathways, kind of like gambling, the slot machines at Vegas. You keep pulling the trigger, thinking that you're going to get the next one's going to be the winning one. We can kind of do that into ourselves. But if you get the sugar cravings and you don't give into them, you create other neural pathways in the brain that actually like stop pulling the trigger. So those sugar cravings go away and they decrease and they calm down. It's really hard in the beginning when you start to give up sugar and flour and all of these things. But it's fascinating for me to hear about this more because I've always been taught more of like health and wellness and functional nutrition perspective and from an inflammatory food perspective, but not really from a food addictive perspective. So this was really fascinating for me. And I decided to just dive in and do her boot camp. And she's got different options. There's like a 14-day kind of 2-week cleanse challenge, if you will. There was the boot camp, which is 8 weeks, and you get different modules and you log in. There's tons of amazing information in there. Information to help you with traveling, to help you with special occasions, to help you prep for this. And that boot camp, and really some of the calls last all the way through September. So I'm kind of looking at it as like a 90-day boot camp. That's what I told myself with this. That is $497. And my thought was when you break it down, it's around $167 per month. You get the coaching, you get the support, you get tons of education and resource. This is not sponsored. I get nothing for sharing this. I'm just fascinated by it because I was already eating so clean and doing all these things. Now, most people will focus on what is it going to cost? What we don't think about is what is it going to cost you if you stay stuck over the next year? I think about this with the oils too. Sometimes people are a little bit hesitant to get started with essential oils. A starter kit's like around $160 or around $150, somewhere in there. And it seems like a lot up front, but when you price it out and you see how it's going to support you, or what is it going to cost you to stay stuck in a sugar addiction or with toxins in your home or all of this. Like I'm all about empowering people with a health and wellness lifestyle so you can feel your best. So to me, learning this stuff kind of fit right in with that. You don't have to do the boot camp. She's got 2 books. One is called Bright Line Eating. You can buy it on Amazon. I've linked it up. Or there's the Bright Line Eating Cookbook. And you can just go and learn. Honestly, you can find tons of free stuff on her website. You can watch the videos. She's got a weekly vlog, lots of stuff there. But in the back of my mind was, you are the best investment you could ever make. I teach this to you, to my private health coaching clients. And I think of that for myself, especially as a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, and working this business. I've got to feel my best to be able to serve you and help other people. So I really decided that I wanted to go in on this. And one of my mentors, Dr. Jessica Drummond, told me, she was my first health coach, that it's really important to overestimate the amount of support that you will need. And I read somewhere, can't even remember where it was now, that it's easier to change your religion than change your diet. And I read that and I was shocked. But again, so many of these foods are addictive: the gluten, the dairy, the sugar, the inflammatory stuff, all of that. And I thought, wow. So when you're going on a new journey, I like to have the support and the accountability and the Facebook group and talk to people who've done that. Yes, you can do it by yourself. I tried to go gluten-free by myself back in like 2012. Took me a full year. Sometimes I would mess up. Sometimes I was like, forget it, I'm eating the cookie. But it actually took me hiring a health coach. It was Jessica Drummond over at the Integrated Women's Health Institute to hold me accountable and quit the gluten. And I noticed huge changes in my life. So for me, it's always really important to get the support. But if you are really confident, you can do that. You can read these books and you can kind of jump right in. Now, you do weigh your food. And there's some resources. You don't need these, but I found them really helpful. I've linked them up, but on Amazon, there's like a bright line eating bundle. This is the stuff that we talk about in here. So there's basically, it kind of takes you through, to keep it really simple, what you do for breakfast, what you do for lunch, what you do for dinner. And you weigh your food. And I thought in the beginning that this would be really triggering for me. And what I noticed was it was actually really freeing. I think I was eating way too low carb. I wasn't eating enough of fiber and fruits and vegetables. And I like fruits and vegetables. There's a lot in here. And I was overeating protein and healthy fat. And by weighing my food, it made it really easy for me to figure this out. I was never hungry. I was not starving myself with this. It's actually the opposite. I look at my plate and go, oh my gosh, that is a lot of food. How am I going to eat all of this? I am completely full. And that meal holds me over for 4 to 5 hours. I'm not snacking in between, and you don't snack in between. So those are kind of the things: no flour, no sugar, no snacking between your meals, no like popping veggies in your mouth while you're chopping them up. You sit down, you're mindful, you eat your meals. And so as an example, like breakfast is one protein, and it gives you all of these examples of protein with this. And then breakfast is one grain, and then one fruit. It seems like a lot of food. I had some gluten-free oats this morning, added a little bit of hot water. I added some nutritional yeast, garlic, salt, black pepper, and cooked 2 eggs, put that on top, added some chili powder and hot sauce. It was really good. And then had an apple. It's a lot of food. You can follow my stories on Instagram. You can see what I'm eating. So that was breakfast. Lunch is a protein, 6 ounces of veggies. It's a lot. 1 fruit and 1 healthy fat. And it makes it really easy. This is in the program, but I bought this. It's a magnet, which is nice because you just put it on your fridge. It makes it really easy. And I just pull it down and I look. And then dinner is 1 protein, 6 ounces of veggies, and an 8-ounce salad. That could be leafy greens, or that could be other vegetables like cauliflower rice, or I took cabbage slaw and I cooked it all up as like a stir fry, or broccoli slaw. So it's a lot of vegetables. When you look at it on your plate, it's a heaping amount of vegetables, and then a fat. And it walks you through, it tells you all of the things. You can just like follow this, or it's in the book, or it's in the program. And that makes all the difference for me, to actually weigh it out. And it tells you, like, for a protein, you could have 2 eggs, or you could have 4 ounces of chicken, or whatever it is. And it's different for the guys. For the guys, they get a little bit more protein than the girls. And then there's a maintenance plan. When you've met your goal weight, when you're doing good, you get a little bit more. It's a little bit different. There's a little bit more cooked grains. There's grains with each meal with that. So that was kind of fascinating to me, of how that works and what it looks like, and how freeing it was to weigh my food. I actually started to like it. In the past, when I would weigh my food, it was like, that's it. My very first experience with direct sales was Singular. And I actually did it because I had really bad headaches and migraines. And we would have to weigh like the almond milk that you would mix with these shakes and all this stuff. And they have like, I don't know, it's like an 8-day challenge where you lose like 10 pounds or 12 pounds or something like that. And I did lose weight, but I felt starving. I was hungry through the whole thing. It was miserable. It didn't help my headaches, which is what I was hoping it would do. And then later, as I learned about the functional nutrition piece, I was like, I can't do this because it was all like whey protein shakes and the ingredients and the stuff. And it just didn't jive with me. It wasn't in alignment, but that was how I remember weighing food, was like weighing these little ounces of lunch meat or cheese or something, and just feeling starved all the time. It's completely opposite with bright line eating. I weigh stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, 6 ounces of blueberries. Like I look at it, I'm like, that's a lot of blueberries and I need to add more blueberries. So it's been so much better, such a freeing thing. And I personally already eat a gluten and dairy free and refined sugar free diet. So there's things on here that have dairy, and I just choose for the dairy free option for me. You don't have to, but that's what works for my body. But basically, no snacking, eat 3 meals a day, meditate. And this was also something that really aligned with me. This is what we do each day. There's like a little checklist, and it's you commit to your food for the day, bringing in some mindfulness. You read something spiritual or uplifting. You meditate for 10 minutes a day. All of these things, I'm like, yes, bringing in that mindfulness and meditation and stress reduction, all of that. You do write in a food journal. You can do anything. You don't need to get a food journal. This is the Bright Line Eating food journal. I just kind of got the bundle because it was cheaper to get it all together. It's a really nice food journal. I like it. It's simple. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, check off your water. What are you grateful for each day? And I like that they're pulling in the gratitude, because the research shows that in a lot of ways. So gratitude journal, food journal. And I've been so surprised. I feel full. It's actually kind of the opposite. I was like, is it normal I feel like I almost overate. And they said it takes a little while for your body to adjust to eating this many vegetables and increasing the protein. But I'm noticing the first 2 days definitely went through withdrawal and detox. And this is what happens. If you've ever done the elimination diet, or you get off the sugar or the Cokes or the caffeine or whatever, you're going to have withdrawal symptoms. And I did. I had a pretty gnarly headache for the first 2 days and just felt a little bit more tired. So I used some peppermint oil for the head tension. And I've really been optimizing my sleep and just letting myself rest, because the body is detoxing. And mine was detoxing from coconut flour and almond flour and stevia and these like added sweetener type of things. But I noticed I had some pretty gnarly sugar cravings in the evening. That's when I wanted dark chocolate. That's when I got a little like, oh, I really want something sweet. And I actually got a glass of water with fennel essential oil and drank that. And that helped a lot. You can have like sparkling water. So I'll get that with like some lime essential oil or wild orange. That helped me a lot with that. And I noticed as it went on, day 2, the sugar cravings are less. Day 3, last night, I didn't have them at all. I was like, who am I? This is wild. So I'm already seeing changes pretty quickly. And I would also say the more processed foods you're on, the more you will detox. So just kind of know that going in, drink lots and lots of water, Zendocrine essential oil over the liver, bottoms of the feet, take that internally to kind of help your body support that detox, citrus oils in your water, all of that. But I don't think I was eating enough food, which is crazy. And this is how we're all supposed to eat, right? Protein, fiber, healthy fats, like lots of fruits and vegetables, lots of clean proteins, get organic, grass-fed, no antibiotics, no hormones, healthy fats in there. And I was eating vegetables, but not this many. So that's been just a very powerful experiment. I'm on day 4. So I've completed 3 full days and got on the scale. I wasn't going to. I usually try not to weigh myself. Like if I'm going to weigh myself, like maybe once a week. But I did do a starting weight and pictures. And since I'm doing this live today, I thought, well, let me just hop on the scale. Let's just see what happened. I lost 4.8 pounds. That shocked me because I have felt full. I have not felt hungry. I actually felt like to my brain, it was like too much food that was coming through. And to see that, and as somebody who was already eating pretty clean and doing elimination diets and counting calories and all of these things and not seeing that scale budge, it actually went up when I did an elimination diet. That was kind of incredible. And again, I want to remind you that I was already eating really clean before starting this. This may be a big jump if you're eating the standard American diet and still on a lot of processed foods. Start this journey where you're at. You know, I think health is an ever evolving journey. We're going to tweak things and you have to find what works for your body and what you feel best on. but I encourage people to add things in before you take away. Add in more real whole foods and fruits and vegetables, and drink more water, and cut out the sugar. Ideally, and on this plan, the only sugar that we have is from fruit. And she talks about, because it's nature's so awesome, right? So much of healing is coming back to nature, that it's packaged and it's got fiber, and we eat it with a protein and healthy fats and things to help support the blood sugar with that. You cut out alcohol, optimize your sleep. That can affect your blood sugar and insulin resistance, manage your stress, and eat clean sources of protein. And I love that they kind of added that all in. There's the gratitude journal, the meditation. Your goal is 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. And then you kind of rate your food cravings and see how you're feeling. And the premise is, the longer that you stay away from the yucky stuff, the better you feel, the less the sugar cravings go away, which makes sense. You stop giving your brain those dopamine hits, you kind of rewire those neural pathways. I will say, for me personally, cutting out gluten and dairy and sugar made a huge difference in my health. And this was just kind of like the next journey. I don't know, maybe it was a pandemic, maybe it was increased stress, maybe it was the injury. I've had 2 hip surgeries, but I think my body just needed more food, and more vegetables. And it's made all the difference for me. That's why I'm talking about it. So I'm sharing about it. All right, I'm going to see if there's any questions coming in. Hello, everyone. Looks like there's a question on Instagram. Let's see. Yes. Oh, this is a good question. Did you use Slim and Sassy to help the cravings? Yes, I did. And to help with the detox. So I have a great big water bottle here. This is a 50-ounce water bottle, and I'll fill it up with water in the morning. And I put like 5 drops of Slim and Sassy in here. If you don't love the taste of Slim and Sassy in the beginning, I didn't. You can add a couple drops of another citrus, tangerine, wild orange, lemon, whatever's your favorite. And that did help with those sweet tooth situations. And there's some really great oils in Slim and Sassy to help to boost your metabolism. So I would use your oils in conjunction with this. I cook with my oils regularly, so that's been really powerful. Mark is not doing this. This is just for me. Mark's doing great with eating how I normally cook, and that's his thing. And he's like, awesome. He's kind of doing it in a sense that I like cook stuff for both of us, and he can kind of pick and choose. But that was what was so fascinating for me. Mark will like snack a little bit in the evenings. Like he kind of likes like chips or crackers or things. And I've gotten him off of the gluten and the dairy. So they're like upgraded versions, but he would snack at night, or like a little bit of popcorn, and he's fine. And he's not gaining weight. He's like reached his goal weight, and he's doing good and maintaining. So if it's working for him, awesome. Like for me, it doesn't work well. And I was surprised because Mark was like snacking last night. I wasn't hungry and I wasn't even tempted. And usually I am. I'm like, if he's having good things, I want them too. But I was so full from all of those veggies. Yeah, no, I'm not really cooking 2 meals. I think that that's a lot. Mark kind of eats what I make. Like, for example, last night I did chicken, and I cooked it in the Instant Pot, and I put a little bit of vegan cheese on and some marinara sauce. And then I cooked up a lot of cauliflower rice. And then I had extra veggies for me in the air fryer. And so Mark kind of likes more of a salad. I'll eat salad too. I love salad, but I love bell peppers and onions and zucchini and stuff like that. So Mark made a salad and had his chicken, and I had my big bowl of cauliflower rice and all the extra veggies and grilled chicken on top. And it's fine. Yeah, you could cook 2 meals if you want. And Mark knows if he doesn't like what I'm making, he can make something else, but he's not really a picky eater. And he's done so well. He's lost 40 pounds just eating what I cook. It was also a little frustrating for me that he was losing weight like crazy when I was gaining it, eating the same thing. But this is bio-individuality, right? Everybody's a little bit different. I see that there's a 100-day no sugar, no flour challenge. I think Elise started that on Facebook. I joined that, and I didn't realize that was bright line eating until just recently. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's the same thing. So I'm kind of doing it. I guess I haven't like officially joined it, but I kind of am. I've been sharing some of my recipes in that Facebook group, and it's been really helpful. This is definitely a journey. And this is why I think the accountability and the support is huge. So I love that she's got that going too. And I went right to the source. I was just like, okay, Susan created this, and I'm going to go right to her program, and started diving into her resources. And I really like it. It's been helpful. Yeah, love Slim and Sassy and Endocrine. Yeah, give us all the supportive oils and detoxifying oils. That's my journey. Just going to share a little bit with you in the like bundle thing. This is kind of handy. There's like a grocery list that you can tear off that kind of helps you. There's this little pocket guide that goes through that. It like talks about, okay, here's the meals and this is how many ounces, or these are the things. It's going to be interesting for me to put this to the test while traveling. So we'll see how that goes. But the theme is one day at a time. So you'll hear people say that a lot. And the other one is just follow the fabulous plan or just follow the freaking plan. So those are things with this. But for me, I liked the systems. I liked that it was clean eating. It made sense. It was in alignment, and I was shocked. We'll see. I put on about 20 pounds. So we'll see how long it takes to get to my goal weight, how I'm doing, but I feel a lot freer. You can get a food scale. This one was from Walmart. This is like the Biggest Loser food scale. There's one that she recommends on Amazon. It's the OXO brand, but it was sold out when I looked, but any food scale will do. Also know that for some people, weighing their food is going to be a little bit triggering. I actually had some people private message me that, and I get it. And if it is triggering, don't worry about it. Like, you've got to find your own journey and what you feel good with. But I know sugar's super addicting, and it's one of those things. I mean, I'm high on the susceptibility scale. If you're low, maybe you can have sugar every once in a while and you do fine. It's not addictive for you. Awesome. But I'm pretty high up there. The bundles on Amazon, I've linked it up. On Facebook, it's above this video. So if you scroll down, there's links and it's all there, but it has like the food journal, and then there's a gratitude journal. And then this one's kind of cool. It's a 5-year journal. I've never seen this before, but it's kind of cool, where you write in it for the day and then you come back and like a year later, so you can see a year later, like what happened in your life. How are you doing with this? That's kind of neat. It's kind of like a Facebook memory. So it's got that, and it's got the little pocket guide and the grocery list and the magnet. This magnet saves me. I just put it on my kitchen counter when I go for a meal or cook or anything. So that's pretty helpful. How do you prepare your cauliflower rice? I buy the organic cauliflower rice frozen, and I just kind of put it in the skillet. I will use a little bit of like olive oil spray or avocado oil spray to kind of spray the pan. And then I just kind of let it thaw and cook it up, and I'll season it with whatever I want, depending on what I'm mixing it with, like sea salt and black pepper and garlic powder, onion powder, whatever you want. You could add a little bit of lime essential oil, make like a lime cilantro rice. You just kind of play with it. It's a nice vegetable that like you could add sauces to that if you're like swapping out pasta. It's great to use your veggies instead of pasta. Are there other tips on ways to fool your brain? I don't know if we're trying to fool our brain. The brain is pretty smart, but I mean, I thought I was tricking my brain with stevia, and that it wasn't spiking my blood sugar, but monitoring my blood sugar it was. And that's what she's kind of saying, is you can't fool your brain. Like, you can't trick your body with some of these stuff. Like, sugar is sugar is sugar. And that's why the only sugar on this plan is fruit. Yeah. All right. If you missed the beginning, this replay will be up, and you can go back, and all the links are over on my Facebook page too, so you can dive in. But it looks like we went through all the questions. It was so good to hang with you, and I will see you soon. If you want to follow the journey, follow on my stories over on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll keep you posted with how this is working. But so far, I've been really surprised with how my body has responded, and super quickly for that matter. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.